He called him brother, trusted him with secrets, celebrated every win, shared every loss. From schoolyard fights to late-night heartbreaks, they were inseparable. But behind every handshake was a smirk. Behind every cheer was jealousy. If only he knew that the person he loved like family was slowly, quietly, plotting his downfall. They had been best friends for as long as anyone could remember. From scraped knees on the playground to graduation caps tossed into the air, they shared everything: dreams, secrets, heartbreaks, and victories. Everyone called them the twins that weren't twins. Jason was the loud, charming one, the athlete, the center of every room. And then there was Adam. Quiet. Observant. Always in the background. Always there. People assumed it was a perfect friendship. A bond so strong, so unshakable, that it would last forever. But deep inside Adam, something else was growing. Something darker. It started subtly, feelings he didn't understand at first. He would watch Jason win yet another game, another award, another girl's heart. And while the crowd roared for him, Adam clapped too, but slower. Quieter. He started to feel invisible beside Jason's spotlight. No one ever asked how Adam was doing. No one noticed when he wasn't there. And over time, admiration twisted into envy, envy into resentment. But Adam wore a perfect mask. Smiled when he was supposed to. Laughed at Jason's jokes. Hugged him after wins. Jason never noticed the shadow creeping behind those friendly eyes. Jason, being naturally trusting and loyal, never saw the signs. He would call Adam late at night to vent about his fears. Adam listened. He always listened. He knew Jason's weaknesses, his insecurities, his blind spots. He knew who Jason loved, who he feared, and who he trusted, and he used it all against him. Not in loud ways. No direct betrayal. Adam was smarter than that. He planted seeds instead. Quiet whispers, offhand remarks, suggestions that Jason never questioned. I saw Rachel with another guy, but maybe I'm wrong. Coach seems a little cold lately. Maybe he's not impressed anymore. You've changed, bro. Some of the guys talk behind your back now. Jason, overwhelmed by the pressure of expectations, began to unravel. He started second-guessing his girlfriend, losing sleep before matches, snapping at teammates. And every time he fell, Adam was there, pretending to help him back up, while secretly watching him bleed. What made it worse was how deeply Jason trusted him. He thought of Adam as family, maybe even more than family. There was never a reason to doubt him. And Adam knew that. He used that trust like a scalpel, precise, sharp, and silent. It got darker. Adam began creating conflicts between Jason and his closest friends. He would casually, accidentally, show screenshots, start rumors, twist truths just enough to cause fights. One friend was pushed out over a fake betrayal. Another was framed for gossip. Jason felt surrounded by traitors, not realizing the real traitor was the one sitting beside him, pretending to console him. Slowly, Jason's world began to shrink. The more isolated he became, the more he leaned on Adam. It was the perfect trap. Then came Rachel, Jason's girlfriend. Sweet, loyal, and the only one who ever seemed to sense that something was off. She noticed how Adam always showed up at just the right time to warn Jason about someone. She saw the way Adam looked at her when Jason wasn't watching. She tried to warn Jason gently. I don't think Adam has your best interests at heart, she said once cautiously. But Jason brushed it off. He's my best friend, Ratch. He'd never hurt me. Adam heard about that conversation. Rachel had unknowingly made herself a target. Soon after, Jason began receiving anonymous texts, screenshots of Rachel talking to another guy, pictures taken out of context, voice notes edited to sound like confessions. All of it carefully crafted by Adam. Jason confronted Rachel, hurt and furious. She denied everything. Cried. Begged. But the seed had already taken root. Jason broke it off. And Adam was there the same night, bringing pizza, acting like the supportive, best friend. It was the most twisted victory Adam had ever tasted. And yet, it still wasn't enough. Adam wanted more. He didn't just want Jason to fall. He wanted him broken. Alone. Forgotten. He wanted to be the one everyone looked at, finally. The one they applauded. The one they loved. But Jason, even at his lowest, still had something Adam didn't: authenticity. People still gravitated toward him, even in pain. That only made Adam more bitter. More dangerous. He began manipulating coaches and teammates, spreading rumors anonymously, framing Jason for missing practices he never skipped. Slowly, Jason's name began to lose its shine. Sponsors pulled away. Rumors flooded campus. And through it all, Jason kept leaning on Adam, his one true friend. The one he thought had his back. But what he didn't know, what he couldn't imagine, was that the person standing beside him with a hand on his shoulder, pretending to support him, was the very one who had spent years setting fire to everything around him. Jason's world had become foggy. Once the golden boy of his college, admired by teammates and loved by friends, he now found himself moving through hallways filled with whispers. His girlfriend was gone, his confidence shattered, and even his coach had grown distant. The silence around him was getting louder. His friends had disappeared, some ghosted him, others grew cold. He couldn't understand what had changed. The only one still standing beside him was Adam. Always Adam. Loyal, calm, always there with a pat on the back and a quiet, "You'll get through this, bro." But truth has a strange way of showing up when you least expect it. It was a Wednesday afternoon when the storm finally broke. Jason was in the gym locker room, alone after practice, scrolling through his phone when a notification buzzed in. A direct message on Instagram. No name. Just an account with 0 followers and no profile picture. He opened it out of curiosity. What he saw made his heart drop. It was a screenshot. A group chat. A familiar group of faces, people he knew, some he had once called friends. And there, in plain sight, was Adam's name. Messages from Adam, mocking him. "This idiot still thinks I'm on his side," face with tears of joy. Another read. "I told him Rachel was cheating just to see him cry, LMAO." And another. "He's crashing and I'm loving it. Finally, the king falls." Jason stared at the screen in disbelief. His fingers went numb. He kept scrolling, more screenshots followed. Voice notes. Private conversations. Pictures he never knew were taken. Adam had been feeding lies into his life for years. All those whispers of doubt, the warnings about Rachel, the fights with friends, the tension with his coach, they weren't coincidences. They were calculated. And worst of all, Jason had loved this man like a brother. For a long minute, Jason didn't move. He felt like the floor had cracked beneath him. His mind raced back through every moment they shared: birthday parties, sleepovers, late-night talks. The trust. The laughter. The moments he thought were real. And now, they all felt poisoned. He didn't confront Adam immediately. No yelling. No fists. Jason was many things, but impulsive wasn't one of them. He wanted truth, full truth. So he started digging. He contacted people he hadn't spoken to in months. One by one, the stories unraveled. Rachel had never cheated. His teammate hadn't badmouthed him. His coach's coldness came after hearing rumors planted by someone close to Jason. That someone was Adam. The final proof came from Rachel herself. She met Jason at a quiet cafe, tired eyes but calm voice. "I tried to warn you," she said, placing her phone on the table. "But you trusted him more than me." She played a voice note Adam had accidentally sent to the wrong person. In it, he laughed about how easy it had been to turn Jason against her. "He's so gullible," Adam said. "He thinks I'm the only one who cares." Jason didn't speak. He just sat there, feeling every word like glass in his chest. That night, Jason made a decision. Not to get revenge. Not to destroy Adam the way Adam had destroyed him. No. He decided to reclaim his name, his truth, and his peace, on his own terms. The next day, Jason invited Adam to a quiet park they used to visit in high school. Adam came, smiling, confident as always. "What's up, bro? Everything okay?" he asked. Jason looked at him calmly. "You tell me." Adam blinked, the smile faltering for the first time. "What do you mean?" Jason pulled out his phone. "I got your messages. The ones from the group chat. Rachel's voice note. The screenshots. Everything." There was silence. Adam's mouth opened, but no words came. His face paled. He tried to laugh it off, deny it, shift blame. "It was just jokes, man," he stammered. "People talk trash, you know how it is." But Jason didn't flinch. "You broke me," he said, his voice steady. "And the worst part? I would have taken a bullet for you." Adam finally realized he couldn't talk his way out of this one. The power he held for so long, the lies, the control, it all dissolved in seconds. Jason stood up. "I'm done. And soon, so will everyone else be." And just like that, he walked away. He didn't need to scream. He didn't need to make a scene. Because the truth, once revealed, was louder than anything Adam had ever whispered. In the days that followed, everything began to change. Jason didn't tell many people what happened that day in the park. He didn't post about it. Didn't create drama. He simply began to live differently. A little quieter. A little more cautious. But something inside him had cracked open, not in a broken way, but in a way that made room for truth to finally breathe. He started reaching out, to the people he had lost. To the friends he had wrongly accused, to the teammates he had pushed away, and most importantly, to Rachel. One by one, he apologized. Not with excuses. Not with explanations. Just with honesty. "I trusted the wrong person," he would say. "And I didn't listen when I should have." Surprisingly, most of them welcomed him back, not because he asked, but because they too had seen through the shadows. Some had suspected Adam for a while but didn't want to get involved. Others had tried to warn Jason, but stopped when they saw how much he believed in his so-called best friend. Now, with the truth in the open, things began to make sense. The story behind the betrayal began to ripple through the campus and beyond. Adam tried to do damage control, of course. He blamed everyone else. Claimed the screenshots were fake, the voice notes edited, the group chats. Just jokes. But people weren't buying it anymore. His reputation, once built on being the trustworthy, low-key, always their friend, crumbled fast. Teammates stopped responding. Girls distanced themselves. Even professors, once fond of his quiet loyalty, saw through his mask. And while Adam spiraled, Jason rose. But not in revenge. He focused on himself. He trained harder. Returned to form. His coach, now aware of what had happened, gave him another chance. His performance spoke for itself, faster, stronger, more focused than ever. But what really changed was the way Jason moved through life now, with eyes wide open. He no longer handed his trust out like candy. He observed. He listened. And most importantly, he forgave himself. For being naive. For trusting too much. For not questioning earlier. Because betrayal doesn't say something about the victim. It reveals everything about the betrayer. One evening, months later, Jason sat on the same park bench where he had confronted Adam. The sun was low, the sky painted in soft pinks and gold. Rachel sat beside him, not as a girlfriend, but as someone who understood. "You're different now," she said softly. Jason nodded. "I had to be." She looked at him. "Do you ever wish you never met him?" Jason took a long breath, then smiled faintly. "No. Because if I hadn't, I would still be the guy who trusted too easily. Who let loyalty blind him. Who mistook proximity for love." There was a long pause. Then he added, "Now I know better. And I'll never lose myself like that again." Across town, Adam sat alone in his apartment. No more messages lighting up his phone. No one knocking at his door. The spotlight he tried so hard to steal had burned him instead. He scrolled through old photos, laughing with Jason, hugging him after a win, goofing around like real brothers. But they weren't memories. They were mirrors. Each one reflecting what he had destroyed, for nothing. He didn't just lose a friend. He lost the one person who saw him as more than his silence. And there would be no coming back from that. Meanwhile, Jason kept moving forward. He gave trust more slowly now, but when he did, it was real. He built new friendships on honesty, not history. And he protected his peace like it was sacred, because now he knew just how easily it could be taken. He didn't need to expose Adam publicly. He didn't need to burn bridges or build cases. Because sometimes the best revenge is rebuilding yourself so beautifully that the people who tried to break you fade into irrelevance. Jason wasn't just healed. He was wiser, stronger, and finally, free. Time passed. Not in a dramatic blur, but in the quiet way healing often comes, one slow breath at a time. Jason didn't wake up one day magically healed or over it. He woke up still hurting, still carrying the weight of betrayal, but each morning, it got lighter. He began rediscovering parts of himself that had been buried under years of manipulation. His laughter became real again. His focus returned. And for the first time in a long time, he looked in the mirror and didn't see failure. He saw survival. What Adam had tried to destroy was something far deeper than reputation. He had tried to chip away at Jason's sense of self, his confidence, his relationships, his ability to believe in others. And in a way, he had almost succeeded. That's what made the pain so raw. Because the betrayal didn't come from an enemy. It came from the one person Jason had once called a brother. But here's the truth. When someone shows you who they really are, it hurts. But when you finally see who you are because of it, that's power. Jason had learned things most people don't figure out until much later in life. That loyalty is not blind. That real friends don't dim your light, they protect it. That silence in the face of manipulation is not strength, it's a slow death. And most importantly, he learned to trust himself again. That inner voice he used to second guess? He began to listen to it. Honor it. Respect it. One day, as Jason walked past the college's outdoor courts, he saw a group of freshmen playing. They stopped when they saw him, nervous, excited. One of them called out, "Yo, are you Jason Alvarez?" He smiled. "Used to be," he joked. They laughed, but then one said, "We heard your story, and we respect the hell out of you." It hit him harder than he expected. His story. He didn't know people had been talking. But they had. Quietly. Respectfully. Not for gossip, but for inspiration. They saw someone who had been publicly burned and chose not to burn others in return. Who rose not with rage, but with grace. Later that night, Jason went home and opened a folder he hadn't touched in months. Inside were old photos, him and Adam as kids, arms slung around each other, smiling so wide it hurt. He stared at one particular photo, them at age 14, muddy from a football game, laughing like the world couldn't touch them. He didn't cry. He didn't get angry. He simply let go. He picked up a lighter, walked out to the backyard, and without ceremony, set the photo aflame. Not out of hate, but closure. Not to forget the past, but to stop letting it own him. Some stories end with revenge. This one ends with freedom. Because Jason didn't need the world to know what Adam had done. The world eventually sees the truth, always. What mattered more was that Jason saw himself again, clearly, fully, honestly. And in doing so, he became something far more powerful than popular. He became untouchable. And Adam? Adam became a ghost. Still there. Still breathing. But no longer significant. Because when the lies fall away and the smoke clears, the one left standing isn't always the loudest. It's the one who kept his soul intact. Jason never looked back again. Not because he was running, but because he was finally walking forward, with his head high, his circle clean, and his peace unshakable. And if Adam ever wondered what happened to the boy he used to manipulate, he should know. He turned into a man who forgave, outgrew, and never forgot. Backhand index pointing right. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the bell icon so you never miss a tale that hits the heart.